Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. We do a lot of technical analysis on this channel. I'm mainly in commodities, and we can use cryptocurrencies. We can use anything that's tradable to learn about technical analysis. Now, I know some people, they like watching Bitcoin, they like watching Ethereum, they like these cryptocurrencies. And the only thing that's been keeping me from cryptocurrencies is I don't think there's any utility in them. That's where I get afraid. I don't want to turn this into a debate, but I know I can chart this stuff. I've been telling people at work, if you're going to buy it, this is when I would buy it. And I've been pretty much 100% spot on. And I'm going to give you my opinion here, because I know a lot of people think that this is just going to go straight back up and go to $100,000 or go way up to some ludicrous number. I don't think it's going to in the short term. It probably won't, maybe by the end of the year, but I don't think it's going to do it anytime soon. I'll give you my reasons why. So what I'm going to show you is basically, we're going to do some charting here. I'm going to start with Bitcoin here. And again, this is just financial education, guys. I'm not trying to do anything. So every single time you get these huge moves, do you see these two big moves here? What preceded the move? It was a basing pattern. This one based for a couple of years. This one based for a couple of years. And it broke this downtrend. This one broke basically a flat line going all the way across. It broke to the upside and gathered momentum. This was the smart money accumulation phase, the institutional phase, and then the retail blow off top. And then everybody who was in retail got to lose money on this downward move. I had told people that I know to be buying in this area right here. When it was down and it started coming back up, I said, you know what? This is probably a good spot to be buying. It came up, came across, they had to hold for a little while, and I said, look, they're going to break this big trend line. I would buy in this. If it breaks, buy in the back test. Breaks up, buy the back test, and then you get the big move. Now, where we are today, if you look at this move coming down, is there's no base to launch from. You have no footing to move higher. This is going to have to consolidate. There's too much. The chart went too high, too fast, and now it's coming back down with a lot of momentum. It's going to take time to consolidate from that move. And if I zoom in on this section over here, what we have here, and maybe I can throw in another line or two here to help you guys out. Now, this is what the pattern was, about right there. And then if you draw this guy here, you've got this pattern here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what you need to do. Basically comes in that way. And I know we're looking at this kind of in the rearview mirror. If you go back and look at my other crypto charting, I talked exactly about this. So we had a launching pad back here. It launched higher. Then it got tired. We got a ascending wedge pattern, broke to the downside. We got this trend line that it broke, came back up to retest. And I said, this could come back up. I called it right in here. I said, it broke. It's done. You're going to see a move lower. I said, you might see this come back up and retest this trend line. It came up, retested, and then sold off hard. We're kind of at the bottom of this. If it's a shoulder, head, shoulder, if it breaks to the downside, it may or may not. But that's the pattern. And I think this is going to take time to consolidate. I don't think it's just going to go straight higher. Now, if I zoom in on this section there, this is what it looks like and can be a little bit concerning. You tie this point and this point together roughly, and it's playing with this bottom line right here. If this doesn't break back up, you could see this roll down and move lower quite dramatically, because there's not much support under this line here. So if it breaks this line, you could see it go all the way back to like 15,000 or something like that of the previous highs. So that's Bitcoin there. Now Ethereum, there's another thing I want to point out here. Every single move here, it launched from a base. This here was a breakout, and it broke out. Then it came back down and did a big old basing pattern. Here's your base here that you could launch from. You broke out, you came back, and then you launched. Now, if you look inside the red box, and you look inside the red box, when this comes up, see how this movement comes down, the selling? It's the same movement as you had coming up and coming down here. It's the same exact pattern. You're probably going to see a pattern that's very similar to this pattern as it works its way down and consolidates. It's going to do the same thing. It doesn't mean that this is completely over on a long-term perspective. It depends what people do. But I don't think it's just going to turn around and go straight higher. I think it needs to create a base or something to launch from, which could take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. I don't think it's going to resolve itself in a month. So if you guys are trying to learn technical analysis and you're looking at these charts, one thing to realize is that if you're going to trade, your best moves are when things break out of chart patterns or off of a basing pattern. And that's exactly what I look for. You should check out my other video on energy service companies. Those have these gigantic bases that are all forming. We've got the tailwinds behind us in terms of the market conditions, and those big chart patterns, they're massive. They can move 500, 600, 1,000%. They may even outperform some of these cryptos. Now, I know cryptos, they're almost on like a ludicrous mode. So this thing could consolidate pretty quick. If you get these huge moves up, and it only takes a few years between each of these large moves, I mean, the reload on this is super quick. Usually markets are a lot slower, and they travel with the business cycle, which is usually 8 or 9 years or 10 years, somewhere in that range. So I don't think this is just going to return and go right back up. That's in my opinion, looking at charts for many years. I just don't think it's going to turn and just fire on higher. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.